What's up again, everybody? For today's combo breakdown video, let's talk about this card. This is the Staff of the Forgotten One. It is a 3-cost super rare fist action with a really cool ability that says, until the end of the turn when an opposing character die is damaged, KO it. Also, until the end of the turn, if you KO 2 or more character dice, prep 2 dice from your bag. I really want to use this card. This was the first super rare that I pulled from this set, and I liked it the moment I read it. It is a one-sided uncommon danger room with the upside of ramp if you can combo it, so let's take the low-hanging fruit and just jam it with Magic Missile, because I want this thing to work. So this is a pretty straightforward combo here. We're going to use the staff to create a game state that will allow us to ping our opponent's characters with the Magic Missile Global and KO them. Pay a bolt, KO a character is super strong, and making the trigger a global means the combo is consistent. It can clear hard to remove big drops, it can remove card text blanking characters. All in all, it's very flexible. Even better, 33% of the time we roll this, we're also ramping with this die, so all in all, the combo seems very workable. And of course, that's if you KO 2 characters on that turn, but you wouldn't roll this and not KO the characters unless you totally whiffed on your rolls. As for what we put around it, we clearly need a win condition. If we're looking to clear our opponent's board, then it would make sense to push physical damage because it's open. Because I don't hate my friends enough and I already embrace the low-hanging fruit that is Magic Missile for the combo, I'm going to avoid using the obvious Guy Gardner win con and instead go with Dum Dum Dugan Hardened by War. Now I know what you're thinking, well that's not much better, and yeah, I get that, but I'm not going to sit here and dumb this thing down to White Lantern Wonder Woman levels. So as you can see, Dum Dum Dugan is a 2-cost shield character that gets stronger based on the number of your sidekicks, which means we will be looking to add some sidekick love to the team here in a bit. For now though, Shriek's a card, so let's embrace some redundancy and also include Foot Ninja Syndicate, a 3-drop that also gets stronger based on the number of total sidekicks in the field. This way, if our opponent somehow takes away Dum Dum and we can't remove that with our combo, then we have something to fall back on. Now for a fun win more card. Super rare Malekith is on here for several reasons. His global is cool, although it doesn't do a ton for us, seeing as our win con only includes 1 action buy. Funnily enough though, if we purchase him and get him active, then we can more quickly cycle our staff, which is a 1-of. If you've ever played an action-based team with 1-ofs, you can attest that it sometimes has the tendency to slow down after the big power turn when you use the action. The fact that we can use the staff and then pop it into our bag to draw it again and use it again speeds up the whole team. I mentioned sidekick love before, and here it is in the form of Professor X. Pay a mask and get a sidekick is good for thinning out our used pile and bag, as well as powering our win con of Dum Dum and the Foot Ninja. Now the sidekicks are vulnerable to the Magic Missile Global that we're bringing, but if our opponent is spending time and energy pinging out our sidekicks, then they're not buying the things that matter to them. The fact that we brought Magic Missile is the reason that we will not be running Mimic Ramp, however. It's just too easy to counter when we bring the counter ourselves. Next up is the crowd favorite Shriek. She's great, and there's not much really to be said about her that hasn't been said already. If you're planning on running this team in casual settings where she's frowned upon, or if you just dislike Shriek in general, which there are some people that do, a great swap out for her is the rare Merlin for the bolt fixing global. He's a secondary win con by himself if you need direct damage in a pinch, and will have sidekicks in the field and may need bolts to activate the Magic Missile staff combo, so he makes a good deal of sense. For the 7th slot, we are going to include a way to work around the very oppressive ability on the common Scarlet Witch. Normally I'd just slap on Parallax and call it a day, but Parallax can provide just as much benefit to our opponent as it can to us, so in order to avoid giving our opponent too much upside, we are instead going to include Uncommon Acererak, I think that's how you say it, with his global that lets you pay 1 energy to reroll an action die 1 time. It's not nearly as good as Parallax, but it's unlikely that our opponent can make use of it, and that helps us tech against Scarlet Witch to some degree. Our final spot is Ramp, and for that we are going to tack on Heimdall for the HXG global. HXG is not nearly as powerful as the super broken meta-defining PXG, and in the long run we all might come to realize that it's just too weak to cut it in the competitive scene, but testing must be done to find that out, so here it is for science. Obviously one of our basic actions is Magic Missile and the other one is Resurrection because it allows us to ramp and bag fix. There are other basic actions out there that can do the same thing, globals specifically, but most of them are conditional and Resurrection is unconditional. If you're not sure what that means, here's an example. Villainous Pact has a mask global that preps a die just like Resurrection, but only if there are no dice in prep before you use it. Res does not have that or any other condition applied to it. It is simply pay a shield, prep a die. high. So if you're wondering why Res is such a popular ramp option, you can thank the unconditional nature of the global. So there you have it. That's a team that takes advantage of the one-sided nature of the staff ability over the uncommon danger room while trying to minimize the downside of the max 1 die restriction thanks to super rare Malekith. But before we end the video, here is another way to trigger the staff. If you don't like the idea of your opponent pinging out your sidekicks and dum-dum Dugans with magic missile globals you yourself brought, and let's face it, that does not sound like a good time, you can change the trigger mechanism of the board clear combo by swapping out 2 cards. So instead of something like Shriek or any other card on this team that you don't value if Shriek is high on your priority keep list, we can pop on the common Jubilee that deals 1 to all opposing character dice when she spins up, and we can swap out Magic Missile for Mutations Global that allows you to spin up and down your character dice. The combo here then just becomes getting a Jubilee die active alongside another character die, using the staff and then using Mutations Global to spin Jubilee up and trigger her Awaken ability to clear your opponent's board and push and hit them in the face and win the game. I'm going to play around with both iterations of the team, and I would love if you did as well, and tell me how both perform and what other changes you would make to the team. So that's it, that's all. As always, thanks for watching.